But I want to point out that so many of the rules that were accepted early in this century were created in the century before and were not practical for all instruments. They worked in some cases, they did not work in the other cases. So with modern investigative procedures, we can come up with much better answers. The front of the diaphragm is fairly high in the body. You know, with the rib cage and so forth. In the old days, if you asked anybody where the diaphragm was, they put their hand down here. There is no diaphragm in this region. It does not exist there in nature. Now it is up, you get like a bellows, larger, smaller. A bellows, you have a little tube here, you expand the bellows, air goes in the tube and fills the bellows. You blow it, push it together, the air comes out. Same thing in your body. As your body enlarges, air pressure is lowered internally, so air is going to move from outside to inside because the air pressure is higher out here than it is inside your body. And then as you get smaller, the air pressure increases internally and it moves out. When in our breathing, we do not use just the diaphragm. In other words, in quiet breathing, you read the book, you'll find that most of the respiration is done simply by diaphragmatic descent, mild contraction to enlarge the thoracic cavity, and relaxation. In other words, the diaphragm moves down, but it cannot contract upwards. It can only, when the muscle fibers contract, they pull the diaphragm from high to low. There is no way for them to contract upwards. It is a physical impossibility to blow from the diaphragm. In other words, this is terminology that you hear a great deal, blow from your diaphragm. You cannot blow from your diaphragm. If you take your words literally to the meaning of language, then this is a muscle that pulls, does not push. You see what I mean in a sense, that it has its duty in life, and it can't be both ways. Now, when you just simply tighten up and blow as hard as you can and your body's like this, that has nothing to do with the blowing. It has to do with making a floor out of the diaphragm so that high pressure won't drive the diaphragm down into the abdomen. And this was the basis to the old school for oboe, trumpet, and generally wind instrument playing. Hard muscles, hard muscles. Well, it's not necessary. You can play in spite of it, but not because of it. It just is, it is, as I say, the maximum this young man could blow was somewhat under the 3 pounds. In other words, he wasn't up to, with a little training, he could have been up to the full strength. But I wouldn't encourage it because he doesn't need that. You could easily hold 150 pounds on your abdominal wall when you're laying down without danger to yourself. Well, obviously you don't need these kinds of strength to make music in an art form. So what I'm suggesting then is there's going to be work effort, but it has to be resultant to the needs of your breath embouchure relationship and acoustical relationship. It is not just a blind, powerful contraction, which so often is developed by the players. Now that's a classic Yours up the past is as good as mine. I'm an old guy, and when you're part of the aging process, you begin to lose your lung volumes to a moderate extent with age. From about the middle 40s or so, early 40s, you begin to lose some of the elasticity of the tissue involvements. You have the gradual calcification of the postal cartilages. You lose a lot of the compliance of the chest, the walls of the chest. There's a considerable loss that comes with age. And I'm down to just a little over 3 meters, whereas I used to have a little below 5. And as you get older, if you take deep breaths, it doesn't matter. You'll still have enough to get by them, and you'll be where the air can move nicely. If not, you'll retire very soon because your flight will go to pot. The tongue will go to pot, the throat will start tightening up, and there are all sorts of symptoms that go with it that are highly predictable. That's 3,450 milliliters, which is the best breath I've had in probably 2 years. It was down to 2,750 milliliters, which is not enough to play a contrabass tuba in a professional organization like the Chicago Symphony, but I lie a lot. I cheat. And I sneak breaths where they shouldn't be, but I do it so fast that nobody knows it. And it's a little bow, so I change it often. And I get by with it.